channel. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and also you could follow us on other social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and our handle is Your Woman Magazine. So today we have the one and only Victoria Mupinde with us, and she's just going to tell us a lot about what she does and give us a little bit of everything. So Victoria Mupinde, welcome. Thank you for coming, and I am glad you're here because we are going to be shedding a lot of light on a topic that is very, very needed to be talked about. So once again, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
So Victoria, let's dive into it. You are a mental health expert amongst other things, and today we'll be talking about mental health, its importance, and everything necessary surrounding mental health. So first question would be, what is mental health?
Well, mental health is a state of mind that enables an individual to be active, productive, and deal with stress positively.
Okay, so mental health has a lot to do with my mind. So what are some of, in fact, let's start with what led you to join mental health awareness and just do what you do around mental health?
For starters, everything, productivity of any individual is based on the mind. So if you are not mentally well, that means you cannot be productive. And that's the core basis around it.
Okay, so you getting into mental health was a passion, or perhaps it's just for, let's say, you're just doing it to help out?
Yes, it was a passion and help. So it's I actually refer to mental health as my ministry, my calling, because I believe it's more than a passion. It's what keeps me going.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned stress when you were talking about the definition of mental health. So is stress a very negative factor to mental health, or maybe you can manage some levels of stress?
So stress is manageable,
okay,
for starters, and it only becomes a problem if it exceeds the normal level. So literally stress is the body's chemical reaction to whatever is not pleasing. It's a way that the body uses to communicate with an individual that whatever is going on in the environment is not pleasing. So that's what stress is. When it exceeds its normal levels, that's when we can now term it as mental illness.
Okay. So when we talk of mental illness, many people have Chinama in mind, like you are a lunatic. What are some of the most common mental illnesses that everybody can have and not even recognize them as mental illnesses?
The first one is, I think we know, the anxiety. Of course, there are different forms of anxiety.
Okay.
We have depression, we have substance initiated disorders as well. We have eating disorders, and epilepsy also is a mental disorder, and also stroke is actually something that is caused by the brain.
Oh, okay. Please do shed more light on that. I thought epilepsy is something that is inherent. Sometimes it's just something that comes along the way because of certain factors. It is mental health related.
Yes, it is. So with epilepsy, what happens is when someone has epilepsy, it means both the north pole and the south pole of the brain have come to a standstill.
Okay.
Hence the convulsions, and for some people it's convulsions, for some people it's just collapsing and falling. So it attracts different things. So when the brain comes to a standstill, it means it can't process anything, and that's what we know as epilepsy.
Okay, all right. Very insightful. Now I'm thinking, I have noticed a lot of talks about, is it bipolar disorder?
Yes.
And also depression. Most people are like, no, I'm depressed. How does one know they're depressed?
Okay, you can know that you're depressed if, one, you fail to sleep, you have a distorted eating pattern, you've got a distorted sleeping pattern, your mood is extremely low. That's one thing. And then you're unproductive. you fail to be productive, then you are depressed.
Awesome. And I think there's been a lot of clashes between religion and mental health. Mostly when somebody has a mental health situation, most people refer to it as it's either demons or perhaps they're being punished for something they did. So how do the two relate? Because I have seen you are also a minister of the gospel. So how do you correlate the two to make them individual as much as they are different?
Okay, so religion and mental health go hand in hand. If Christians, if you are really a Christian, or let me call it Bible believing individual, you understand that there are many instances when prominent individuals who are used by God found themselves to be either depressed, threatened to commit suicide, and you also understand that the same Bible that we talk about has a great stance on mental health.
Okay.
It talks about if you're anxious, if you're low, talk to somebody and let your heart to be glad. So there are many remedies that the Bible gives, and it's not necessarily that they're depressed. So what's going on now, it's a zeal that is occurring, and people want to really categorize everything as being demon oppressed or being demon possessed. But the Bible is clear about these things. It's clear. It even talks that in the midst of counselors there is safety. So when we talk about counsel, it's not prayers, but it's a talking session like we are doing right now.
Okay. Awesome. I believe you have coined a statement I usually use with people to say your mental health is just as important as your physical health. You do exercise, you follow certain diets and avoid certain things to make your physical being healthy. And I think you have to do the same for your mental health. So please share with us what are some of the things we could do to make sure our mental state and mental health is just up to bar.
The first thing is let's normalize getting screened for mental health. Okay. So number one, make use of the public announcement a few months ago by the Ministry of Health to go for screening at every health center. Number two, eat well, eat healthily. Don't eat a lot of snacks. Just have a balanced diet. Normalize doing self-care as well. Journal, practice gratitude and your daily affirmations, then you're good to go.
Good to go. Awesome. So a lot has been said right here about mental health, and my last few questions would revolve around an instance or scenario we've seen going around in the Zambian scene. Recently, I won't mention the name, one of the famous Zambian socialites was mentioned to have taken some harmful substances, trying to commit suicide and whatnot. How does that have an element of mental health? Because I believe something must have led to that. So you as a mental health practitioner, and I am here having suicidal thoughts, what would be the words you would tell to me, either because I'm famous or just because of the burden I'm having as a person?
Okay, so the words, they can't be generalized because I will have to study your medical background and understand what has triggered you. So sometimes these, we have seen a lot of instances where social media influencers have threatened, others have committed suicide, and not only in Zambia, I think all over. So a lot of people have different medical backgrounds. So the first that's one thing that triggers suicidal thoughts. So I need to understand where it's coming from and how you've been dealing with it. And of course, that's when I can prescribe or find words to tell you.
All right. So your mental therapy is basically counseling, where we have conversation like therapy.
So it's a talking therapy, number one. Number two, you need to learn fine techniques.
Okay.
Number three, you need to learn how to manage and regulate your emotions. So it takes a lot of learning and unlearning your personality type, your body type, and to some extent changing your behavior pattern.
Awesome. Okay, so that was our talk with Victoria Mupinde. I am so happy she came through, and a lot has been talked on mental health. So my final questions would be, what are some of the tips that our audience says that I myself should remain with in case something triggers my mental health into doing something, or just for my well-being mentally and physically as well?
The first tip is watch who you follow, watch what you listen to, watch who are in your circles, because all those things influence your thought pattern. Number two, whenever you feel overwhelmed, you feel alone, please do reach out. There are a number of organizations that offer free therapy. You don't need to go to China. There are so many non-governmental organizations that are offering free therapy for both men and women. So do reach out to someone you can trust, and let's keep the mental health conversations. Remember, talking about mental health does not represent illness or does not equal to demon oppression, but it equals to being deliberate about your well-being.
Awesome. So you guys have heard it. You have to be very intentional about the way you live. Watch your friends, the people you follow, stuff you eat. Let's just be intentional, because what we do ultimately reflects what is in us and what we see, what we hear, and everything. So please do take care of your mental health, and if ever you are in need of mental health services, you could follow Victoria Mupinde on her socials. They'll be shared in the link and description box, and also you could just reach out to whomever is nearby, whatever organization you know, to offer these mental services to you. So this is your Woman Magazine. I am so happy we had Victoria here. She's shed a lot of light on a topic that has been ignored by so many people, but is really relevant and relative. So thank you so much for watching this video. Invite your friends to like, and also do subscribe if you're new to the channel once again. And from me, Memory and Lifestyle Designs, for sponsoring this video, we are saying goodbye. Stay blessed and take care of yourselves very well. Thank you.